Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 75. Sorry, 73. I get too ahead of myself.
I'm getting
73.
excited for another landmark 75 count.
Sure, I mean, 25, 50, 100, 75. All good numbers.
All good, even numbers.
Oh, actually, they're odd, but 25, 75 are odd, whereas 50 and 100 are even.
Well, I mean, like, okay, they fall on a 5 or a 0, so they're like nice and clean.
There's got to be a term for that, if it's well, aside from divisible by 5.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know.
so Project Spark. No.
Yes,
Yeah, we're 4 minutes late starting. We apologize for that. Just not very heavily apologize. It just happened to happen that way. And I was late because I was baking
isn't that
cookies.
better than usual? Or usually even more later than that? I think like last week when didn't Brian have computer problems again and like was late like 15 minutes?
Yeah, he had to reset his laptop, and then his laptop was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna take forever
Yeah,
resetting."
I'm on that same laptop, but it looks like it's cooperating today. So,
Oh, so it was a company laptop.
yep, it's a company laptop.
Okay, so we have a few topics to talk about tonight, and one is Brian's gone. Hey,
Yeah.
let's talk about how great Brian is for an entire episode, and how grateful you were to be around him and his awe-inspiring presence. Now,
So true.
so he left, and he actually put out on social media already what he's doing next, because he actually already started
Oh,
working
good.
there.
Funny enough, I actually like I'm not, I'm, besides like using Spark Twitter and stuff like that, like, I don't even have a personal Twitter account, which is, probably insane when you think like I'm a community manager, but I really, like, I don't know, I just don't, but I have not seen his tweet yet that
Well,
he put out.
yeah, I only started using Twitter when I found out about it, like on Tech as a Show, like
Mm,
10 years ago, when they were starting to have like celebrities on Twitter. Like, you can talk to celebrities? Cool. And then,
not
yeah,
around 10 years ago. Wasn't it like 2008 or 2009?
no, 2005-ish. That's when like Mythbusters were on there. So,
Whoa. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay.
So like nerds got onto it. Nerd celebrities got onto it faster than the now everybody celebrities. Anyway, so he has moved on to Wizards of the Coast, which of course make Magic the Gathering, and that was a game that he loved. So it was kind of a hard
Well,
decision for him
well,
to
I
pass
think
up.
he's a fan of Magic the Gathering, but he's also a pretty big fan of like Dungeons and Dragons too, which is also Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, is it? I
Hmm.
did not know that. Well, if I had known that, then it would have been obvious because he had D&D night after every Sparkcast. So,
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, they are due both of those.
well, then props to him because it would be awesome to work on D&D. I
Yeah. They're calling you out. They're saying that he has not said that on his Twitter account yet.
no, not his Twitter, but he did it on his Facebook, and that's public enough.
Okay, there you go.
And plus he
He
said,
said he would. You said he would do it this week anyway, and he could talk about it this week. So
yeah, he said the start of the month. So whatever.
yeah, there you go.
Eh, if I got him in trouble, I'm sorry, Brian, but not that sorry because you should have told me not to say anything sooner.
It's your fault, Brian.
Totally your fault. Um,
Nothing like when he's out the door, you want to like try to kick him on his way.
yeah, well, throw him under the bus. That's the way I
Yeah,
go about it. Like, hey, you're not here anymore, so die. That's the general philosophy, I suppose.
yeah. So with this is so I should count right now. So with Brian leaving, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 14 monitors and a TV.
All to yourself.
All to myself currently.
Okay,
And
so
that includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 computers and uh, 2 Xbox dev kits and one that's not hooked up actually. So 3.
we know what your
A
friends
lot
are
of
getting for Christmas,
There's a
basically.
lot of equipment.
Thomas went shopping in his office.
Yeah, I don't even
Five finger
I don't have
discount,
need for
bro.
any one of these setups. I just like my little Surface Pro that I have at home and that does the job.
You're not the only one left at
It's just
TD,
my
are you?
space. That's not, yeah, it's not, I'm the only one left. It's just the shared space that we had. I'm currently the only person in the shared space. After we moved, we all got divvied up into different places, but yeah.
All right, so moving on to stuff that's live or going live or still is alive, heart beating.
Hmm.
Title update 17 slash localization. It's coming.
It is at some point, yes.
And there's something
You
about
know, really,
localization. What is
yeah, it's really cool. So
localization?
what is localization? So for it's really important for so anybody who's like using, right, you're watching this on Twitch, right? So like all the stuff that you see in the toolbars, all the anything that's the language based, right? So you probably see profile and following and messages and games, channels and all that stuff. All of those are, strings that are getting displayed on your screen, right? And strings, we know those from Project Spark. They're like the text that you actually would display. But when you localize big projects, you have those strings and you can call different languages depending on what the language of the user is. So localization is about getting, those strings turned into more languages so, more people can understand your content. So that is, the goal we're going with Project Spark. We already had localization in the game prior, but it was only like at 50% or whatever because new content wasn't getting localized. So we're making efforts to work with the community to bring back localization. So the first round of localization, with the help from the community, I was asking for all of the strings that they were doing today, actually. We got a lot of great submissions. It looks like we're going to have 100% on German and French, and it looks like pretty close. I'd even say probably upwards of 80% on Portuguese. Um, but it's a really great start in really, really important languages that we get in there. So, really awesome. Otherwise, like, we're still, anybody can start working on them. At this point, after this kind of first deadline, these are the ones that I'm saying will probably definitely make it into TU17. Anything that I get later, it's probably not the case, but we'll be able to do updates. Even necessarily not a full title update, but like our server side, like push out the new localization, we might be able to do that. Um, so there you go. So definitely keep working on localization if that's what you want to do, or if it's for for language, different languages. Please do that. The goal is to get, originally we want to get all 12 languages that Project Spark's already partially localized into. We want to get those all 100%. Then who knows, right? We could even start looking at like, stuff that wasn't even part of those original 12, but that's down the line.
So one of the major issues that people were having with localization the first time through was it forcing the translations to be German if they're in Germany. And there are, of course, like servicemen or Americans in general who are in Germany and want to play Project Spark and want to do it in English instead of in German.
Hmm.
Will there be any kind of either guide of how to change the languages, or will there be anything built in to help them do the toggle?
Yeah, I mean, definitely either one of those. So the goal is to get a toggle that it doesn't allow you to choose a specific language, but it lets you say, I want to be localized or not localized. So if you don't choose localized, it'll default to English. Um, and like have at least those two options. We're kind of running into a little bit of issues at this point with getting that option in. We still really want to get it in for TU17, but it's a way with how our game decides, like, right, because it's right now it's based totally on like your system, basically where your like regional settings are. So because of that and how what it does is it does that very early in the process. So like before at boot up or whatever, before it even looks at assets or other stuff, it's like already has already decided the language. So trying to change that after you've already passed all like the asset load and all the different things that come into the game, and then change it from a menu, it's kind of problematic where we more than likely you'll have to restart Project Spark to see a difference once we do get a toggle in there. But we're working on it. We really do want to get that in for TU17 because I know for everybody, it's great that we're getting localization back in, but there's people who also liked having it consistently back in English too, especially for multi-language users, multilingual. They preferred one or they preferred English or something else. Makes a lot of sense, especially like collaborating stuff. It's a little bit harder if everything's localized, but you like know English, let's say, but you want to collaborate. So we're looking at all that.
Yeah, I don't think resetting your system is that big of a problem.
Yeah, if you have to restart Spark, it's not too bad. I can
Because
definitely look
one, Spark
at it.
crashes all the time anyway, and two,
It's not crashing all the time.
most
No.
other programs require restarting after some changes anyway, so it's not like it's out. Oh my goodness, I can't believe they're asking me to do this. This is so haywire. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, we got to make sure there's a prompt. If it ends up being needed a restart, there needs to be a prompt in there that like comes up and it's like, hey, you need to restart to see your language take effect, kind of thing. And there's some like, I mean, we're learning a lot right now from Kodu Game Lab and working really closely with those guys, and they've always had it where the program actually restarts after you choose a different language. So we want to and they're actually looking to update it so you can actually just toggle it like on the fly. But we're like not at that point yet. But yeah, we want to get it there. It's really important, right? Like the world is an entire audience, and it's really important that we are localized for that, and Project Spark can be a joy to everybody.
Speaking of joy, that's a transition for you. The Game
Woo!
Jam. People have already started their submissions.
So much joy. I know, yeah, I think we're up to, for still having over 3 weeks left. I think people have posted early, and I think we're up to like 12-ish creations, which is actually more than I expected. I thought I'd be waiting till the last week and then all of a sudden get people, um, you know, posting their creations. I didn't even think I'd be able to make a feed because people wouldn't have shared enough. But at this point, we actually went up and put a new developers Game Jam feed, so that replaced the Game Jam winners feed right now since we have an active Game Jam going. So you can find levels there. If you have an entry, like please post on the forums. I'll be like checking because I have to manually add creations to that this time around. So just let me know.
So you're saying you don't respect the previous Game Jam winners?
No, we just it's
You
like
totally don't want to have the feed.
it goes
It's
back
never
to
coming back.
winners feed. Anyway, all those people are like in the Hall of Fame anyway.
That's true. Though,
It's kind of a repeat, but it's that feed was always meant to switch on and off depending on for game jams. That's like our flexible feed.
and the Game Jam, so the epic creation has to be at least 15 minutes, right? But could be longer.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Epic Creations is the one that we're looking. We just want to have make sure there's a good amount of content in there and a good amount of game time. So we're looking at we'd like it to be more than 15 minutes. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a specific minute count. I don't have a stopwatch. But
I will.
it'll be judged harshly if it feels extremely short. But yeah, if you get into the 15, 20-minute mark and it feels a little bit bulkier of a creation, that's more than good.
Though it has to come off as like an adventure type thing rather than just
I mean,
don't make an arcade game and put it in the epic creations.
yeah, right, yeah, they're in all that like the details and stuff are on the forums. So yeah, if and don't if it's a game that's like leaderboard and sure you're able to play longer than 15 minutes because you're good at it. That's like not what we're looking for either. It's like 15 minutes of like story and cinematics or what have you.
Mescat is correct. I'm going to speedrun all these entries. So if I get either bored or finish it within 15 minutes, you get 0 points. That's going to be fun.
Don't do that.
No. No.
While we're still on the game jam, we're also still looking, if you want to be a community judge, you still can do that. So send me a message if you'd like to be a judge. If you're not planning on, if you're active in the community, but you're not making a game jam this time around, you're a perfect candidate to be a judge. So send me a message and we'll be able to coordinate.
I'm going to be Judge Dredd, and you'll be Judge Hershey.
I don't know who Judge Hershey is, but
That was the female cop in the not Steven Spielberg, not Steven Seagal. Sylvester Stallone. There we go. Not Steven at all. Sylvester Stallone version of Judge Dredd. Anyway,
question from chat on about Connect Voice. I no doubt about it. I think you're allowed to use Connect Voice, and I think if people do cool like good voiceovers, it's definitely gonna benefit their creation. I definitely don't think it's gonna be like that'll make make the winner because they had Connect Voice and one didn't. But I mean, it's a combination of things, right? So it's obviously it could be beneficial if they have really good voice acting.
Yeah, I think the crux of the judging comes down to one, is it new? Like, is it something that we haven't seen before?
Yeah, we
And
definitely
two,
want
is
to
it fun?
see. Yeah, like that is definitely probably the most too important. We're looking for originality. I don't want like a we don't want like some cookie cutter, thing. We especially don't want like this game is basically this game except it has a different title in it, right? Like
Or worse yet, this game is Project Spark, default brains, but it lasts for 7 hours. You can run across everything for 7 hours because we reduced the run speed of the characters.
well, yeah, that would be silly, but I would very be very surprised if something like that even placed, right? But I mean, you can make a good game that embraces like Project Spark stuff. That's for sure. Like, if you wanted to do a game that was like based around Champion's Quest or what have you, you could definitely do that. No doubt about it.
And
Or
totally get a
really
zero.
embrace our art style. And just make you don't have to like try super hard to make something that doesn't look like Spark. Obviously, if you make something that just looks incredible, and has a unique art style, that's kind of more points for you. But embracing Project Spark. Like you can make a good looking Project Spark game if you like know how to use the tools right, and that'll be super beneficial for you.
Yeah, I think right now we all know what someone's first creation looks like in Project Spark.
Yep.
Don't make that.
Yeah, I think people know that by now, but
All right, so I guess we're going to move on to the next topic, which was the tutorial series that you guys have been making.
yeah, very cool. So for those of you who haven't seen it,
You call your
um,
own thing very cool. That's nice.
huh?
You called your own thing very cool. That's nice.
Yeah, of course I did. Everything I do is super cool. Super cool.
Okay, okay, go
Uh,
ahead.
So we did a new playlist on YouTube. It's a new tutorial playlist called like Choose Your Own Adventure or Choose Your Own Tutorial, excuse me. And it has like four videos that set you up. So it's like one, two, three, and four, and it's like introduction, just how to like navigate Project Spark. So like the menus and then what to look for and different information. And then there is one on like painting and sculpting, another one on coding, and there's another one on props. Maybe I'm forgetting.
Yeah,
Why am
I skipped past the beginner tutorials just because I was like, I know this part.
Yeah, I mean I know that stuff too. Brian recorded so all 24 videos that we put out so far are actually they were recorded by Brian, and then I'm working on other ones right now. So there's the four intro, and then it splits off where you can do an RPG if you want to, or if you want to do like right now a 2D side scroller. And then we're going to be looking at either expanding those series too, as well as doing a couple others like shooter and arcade, which are going to be really sweet.
So
Uh,
if people watch them and like have suggestions for you, was it worth them voicing out and saying, "Hey, it would be cool if you covered this," or "You could have done this way," that sort of thing?
I mean, we're not going to change. If they're like if they're like good suggestions where they would naturally augment the series, like in the next episode, or make sense for it, I guess for beginners, then yes. Like if somebody's like, oh man, the next thing in an RPG really needs to be like a super complicated dialogue system and quest trees stuff. Like we don't want to go too complicated. This is supposed to get people off the ground and running and using the Project Spark tool set. It's like it's basically we want if this is your first week of Project Spark, like this is the perfect thing to like ramp up on to make like a good quality game, and then you can like start experimenting with more complicated systems. But it's more about like figuring out what kind of code tiles are out there and kind of give you some grounding because I think when you give yourself some grounding like that, you're much more you have something to hold on to, right? So you'll still be encountering things you don't know, but you'll have that foundation, right, of good quality knowledge to like kind of rest on as you struggle and push yourself through trial and error to learn the other stuff. If you don't know anything, right, it's extremely overwhelming and you can get lost really fast. So that's these are meant to help combat that and get a person from 0 to 50%. It's not looking at getting people from 50% to 100%.
So will there ever be a series where you go like week two, this is what
50%
you
to
start doing?
100%. I mean, I think the tips and tricks are very much like I think where we're gonna do. Uh, oh, I have a surprise for you too. The tips and tricks are uh, like where we're gonna be doing like basically anything from beginner all the way to pretty advanced. Like so, they're kind of one-off topics that are not gonna be part of bigger series, but they're things that people would want to do. And if especially for things that are more advanced or intermediate, we'd expect people to know how to like take what we did and then put it into their own creation, um, that kind of thing. Oh no, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, my is in my videos okay too?
Yeah, your video is fine. Except it's your face, but other than that, it's great.
Okay, on my side, I'm getting the spinning wheel saying Skype's not responding and my face is frozen.
Well,
So if Skype crashes right now, I apologize.
well, you are like a wooden child actor, so it's not that big a deal.
So mean. Um,
And so, what other topics do you think you guys are going to go into? Right now, we have RPG and 2D side scroller. What else are you thinking about?
Definitely shooter and arcade are going to be the next two. So the arcade is going to focus on like how to have um, a like menu, kind of a quick restart to reset score based and like leaderboards. So almost kind of like what we're looking for arcade inventions right now, right? Um, so we want to make sure those get a tutorial because those are good things to know. And then shooter is just, I mean, it's a very popular genre of games that people want to make. So we're going to be covering a shooter game. It'll be like a third-person shooter.
So,
Um,
first person is pretty easy to switch to.
yeah, well, we could do a dynamic switch or whatever. I'm just keeping it like third person because I think it looks better. Spark, if you want to look a good looking first person shooter, you gotta put a decent amount of effort into the getting the like position right, and it gets to be a little bit more advanced than I want to take the series. I want it to be a little bit more plug and play.
Gotcha.
So
All
yeah.
right. So,
Um, Otherwise, but so I'm doing a tips and I recorded a tips and tricks video today. I'm having issues trying to edit it right now, but whatever. That's besides the point. But when I get that edited and uploaded on YouTube, there's gonna be a little bit of rockiness just for a little bit as I'm getting like Brian did all the editing before. So I've ramped up on some of that, but there's like random stuff because it's like I'm not on his particular computer and stuff that are problematic. But we're working through all that. But when I get this uploaded, it is a longer tips and tricks, more intermediate to advanced level, and I go over how I like my debug system to be set up. So that one you've been always asking for, I did a video on
oh, I don't care anymore.
it. It's actually I don't know like because I had to clean it up and make it make sense for the tutorial, and it's even like after I took it out of my the way that I had it set up, I was like, hey, this still would work good for everybody else's like levels. I was actually pretty surprised how much thought I put into it beforehand. Like back when I made it like a year ago or whatever. It was a while ago.
And now you know so much more, so you did it so
Yeah.
much
I mean,
better.
yeah, exactly. And I like knew more, so I like could kind of clean it up. But I mean, it's just funny because um, it's not that complicated once but you have to have a baseline knowledge to get into it. So, like I warned in the video, like if you are brand new, you're gonna be really confused because you have to like the very typical like how everybody does their menus with like you have a selection variable and you move through that through up and down that clamp number variable setup. And I mean if you've never seen that before, it's pretty confusing. But I didn't have time to explain like that whole setup. Like I wanted to more like introduce the system itself and like why it makes sense and like what it looks like in action. And it ended up being like 30 minutes, which is not my plan. I'm gonna try to edit it down as much as I can, but
You just have to
ugh,
take all the deep breaths and the ums and the uhs out of it, and you should be down to like 2 minutes.
maybe. I don't when I get doing the tutorials, I don't do too bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm terrible. You guys can, leave comments that let me know if I'm terrible or not. If I say too many and
Well,
hesitations.
you're terrible for many reasons, Thomas.
Yep, let me know. Be very critical of me in my
Trolliness.
yes.
All right, so the other thing is kind of what we're doing right now, which is live streams. You're still doing this one, and you're still doing the Thursday one, and you're still doing Friday ones.
Yep, that's the plan going forward. So, tomorrow, oh man, I'm like, I don't want to commit to this one because I need to like get so much done before it. But tomorrow, I do want to work on the dungeon for our not so eligible game jam creation. Right, so we're working on a level, and uh, yeah, but I'm not very far along. Like I'm definitely not ready to put it on a live stream yet. So I really need to fix that.
Well,
But so that's probably what maybe I won't be able to play Halo tonight, and I'll be jumping in and fixing up my dungeon because I desperately need to get it stream ready. And then yep, so Friday we'll be still doing the Let's Play. That's the easy one because I get to just look at your guys' creations. And maybe I'm gonna try to see if I can get a guest. That should be cool. So you don't have to just uh, you know listen to me the whole time since
so Phil
it's
Spencer is
gonna
confirmed.
it's gonna be a little bit no, not quite, but I mean there might be I right this is gonna be new for everybody not having like the back and forth between me and Brian on streams. So
You can always just like put a mirror up and then talk to yourself. It's like, hey Thomas, this is really great, isn't it? Actually, Thomas, I think this is really poor effort.
right. Hey, I'm telling chat, Twitch chat, and all that. You guys need to be super active because you guys need to keep prompting me. Like we need to have a dialogue back and forth because that's like keeps it interesting. Like if I start rambling, which
Well,
I do all the time,
every single message that you send to Thomas tomorrow has to end in a kappa
in a kappa,
or a dead mouse head. That's fine too.
that works. Yep. So yeah. Sorry if it gets a little overloaded. Sorry if you get a little overloaded on Thomas, but that's what's gonna happen.
And speaking of overload, even though not really, refunds.
Yeah, nobody's account is getting overloaded.
Overloaded with refunds. I demand it.
Yes.
Make it a thing.
All right.
So the deadline was the window,
Yeah,
self-imposed
so
deadline.
we're gonna miss the window by a little bit, unfortunately. We gave ourselves between a 30 and 60-day window, which would have put the full 60 days would have put us at December 5th. Yep, because it was October 5th.
Well,
So
even
December
then, that's October was only 28 days anyway. So wouldn't it be like December 6th or 7th?
October's more days than 28.
Sure?
Yeah, like definitely sure.
No, October 31st definitely isn't Halloween.
Are you trying? Oh, you're trying to mess with me. Okay, whatever. Jerk. Um. Anyway, yeah. So no, we needed to, our 60-day window or whatever.
So
But
there's a class action lawsuit being filed against you for
well, we
missing a
never
date.
signed any contract.
But
But I mean, we have to just do. I mean, for sure, like so unused tokens. So this is like just I guess insider baseball or whatever. Um, there's definitely an obligation from us on. It depends on what country you're in. About like currency, like in-game currency, right? Um, because if you didn't have the opportunity to spend it, but you have it or whatever, then you're kind of definitely subject to like get reimbursement for it, right? Um, sorry, I'm trying to fix my computer, kind of, and it's not doing what I want it to do. Anyway,
so insider
so
baseball.
yeah, so insider baseball. So the refund, yeah. So so it really depends on your country and like your laws there, right? But we know we're trying to just cover all our bases. So if you had unused unused purchased tokens, again purchased, if you won them from the treasure trove or anything else, like they're not considered purchased, um, then you'll get some kind of compensation for that. And I'm not, like, I think it should be like it should be what you spent on the tokens, right? So I think a token equals 1 penny,
In
right?
US dollars, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something to that effect, right? And then we're also looking at purchases, because you could also buy our content directly from like Xbox Store or whatever. You could just go and I want to buy Void Corruptor for $3 or whatever. So so any purchases after July 28th, and then any unused tokens is what we're refunding. Um, but yeah, so we had our window. Um, which, yeah, we're missing it by 5 days, I guess. So refunds they're planning on going out December 9th or 10th, and you'll get an Xbox Live message letting you know that credit's been added back to your account. The Xbox Live message won't tell you specifically how much credit you got back, but it's just going to be added. So you'll be able to like go check your account or whatever.
So
Um,
I could go buy Fallout 4 if I have like $60 coming toward me.
yeah.
Hooray! Fallout 4, I'm coming in. Before Christmas, yay.
hmm And like I think you had a ton of unused tokens, right?
Something like that. Well, it's hard to tell with the what was considered
With the
unused, what
treasure
was
trove.
considered from Treasure Trove, yeah.
I mean, and the way it probably works, right? I mean, if it would probably deplete your purchased stash of tokens as you made purchases before your free ones. I would think it would, right?
I guess we'll find out.
I mean, they all kind of go into a pile, but the game probably actually is like takes out your purchased ones first before it uses your free ones. I mean, it's just a big pile, right? But yeah, one thing I do want to also be really, I'm gonna make sure this is a thing and it's talked about a lot when refunds go out. Because no matter what with refunds, people are gonna be like, I thought I was supposed to get a refund. Which you probably should have. Like I don't know, right? I actually can't see your transaction history like that. I can see like when stuff was added to your account and stuff, but tokens and stuff they're totally kind of a different system because it's all like real money, and I actually like can't really like I can't go in and see your credit card information or how much money you have on your account or anything like that. This is all platform level stuff that, as the dev team, we have to work with, Xbox platform to figure out. So if you have questions about refunds or think you were owed one or, what have you, for the most part, I'm going to be directing people over to Xbox support, because they're going to be the people to actually be able to help you. So just know that know that Spark Thomas can't go in and give you money on your Microsoft account. I can't.
Actually, I think Spark Thomas owes me like $500,000.
Yeah, I just want to be clear about that because I know a bunch of people are going to. I know a ton of people are going to be like, I never got my message. I didn't get my refund. I made this purchase on whatever. Especially like there's definitely going to be issues with retail because retail like shouldn't be selling Spark anymore, yet
And they
retailers are
totally
still
are.
selling Spark. Yeah. And you are not considered part of our refund process. Um, if you've never redeemed your starter kit or whatever within the time frame. So, if you bought Project Spark, now you need to go, talk to your retailer where you bought the physical disc from, because that where we it's at this point we can't do anything about that refund. Um, so you got to go, and we, once we went free or whatever, all the retailers were notified about, going free and pretty much like to get rid of their Project Spark stock. So, like GameStop was selling them for like a single penny just to get rid of the cases, basically, and get them out of the store.
Whereas
Um,
Walmart is like selling for like $50 now.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I heard apparently some retailers are still selling them for like $40. So do not do that. Obviously, I mean you guys are following the State of Spark. You guys obviously like are you guys are listening to Sparkcast, but you guys are aware of things, but general consumers necessarily aren't. Um, so yeah, so know that, for sure. If you're buying Spark now, you definitely don't be buying it now. And if you already did, then go talk to your retailer.
And you are now, speaking of State of Spark, you're the guy that's now doing them. How is
I
that
am now
doing?
doing the State of Sparks. So I did this week's and I did last week's. We're gonna keep doing them. My plan is to do them on
Tuesday.
Tuesdays from now on, because that's I think a good day of the week to do it. Gives me time, and I'm gonna change up the format. I think next week to just something I think would be cool.
It's all gonna
But
be written in pink text.
yep, that's gonna be the big change. Everybody, be prepared. It's gonna be cool.
And there's cats everywhere. Pictures of cats in every thread, in every topic. It's like, this is the refund thread, so here's a
The
cat
cats are
playing in a bag of money. It's gonna be full of memes. That's what it's gonna be. And Jar Jar, because you like Jar Jar.
I don't like Jar Jar. Who
You
said I
love
like
Jar
Jar Jar?
Jar. You're that
Stop.
generation who loved Jar Jar.
I didn't mind. I honestly like didn't mind episodes. Like
See?
actually, out of 1, 2, and 3, I think 1 is my favorite. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing according to you, but um, yeah. I mean, I was pretty young. I was like the age group that was targeted for all those, but Jar Jar still is not my favorite by any circumstance.
You didn't really help yourself very much at all there. Anyway, moving on. Star Wars is coming
I'm
out
just
now.
giving my honest opinion.
So what are you
Jeez,
gonna
what
change
do you
for?
want from me? I'm not
So
gonna
what are you
make
gonna
up
change? That's what I want to know. What are you gonna change?
about the state of Spark.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm gonna add just a little bit of different things and do a different format. Like, I think I'm gonna post it to our news area as like an actual like when I think of like weekly updates, like I think about how other games handle them. Like Halo does a community update every week, and it's like on their Halo waypoint or whatever, and it's like posted like a blog, right? And they talk about all these different things and highlight community stuff. And I kind of want to go more toward that route, and then like also double post it back to the forum so for discussion. But I do want to see it like actually on our news section area too, because I think that gets a lot more traffic of people who are don't really want to go to the forums, but
They'll just
want
glance at that, right?
they want to see the highlights. Yeah. I know I actually used the news quite a bit when I was part of the community. So I wanted, and I want to see that tab still having stuff come in it and be frequently updated. Because, right, like, I mean, if I go to that tab right now, uh, the last post was about the developers GameJam, and that was on November 4th, and we're almost coming up on a month. So it's like, if I check that, it's like, oh, nothing's going on in Spark in the last month, which is not true. And I think our state of Sparks highlight that, and I think it would make sense to start putting those there. So I don't know. You guys can tell me if you like it or don't like it. I am totally listening to you guys. That is my job.
We'll find out next week if we like it or not, and then we'll throw
Yep.
cats at you if we don't like it.
Do that. Yep, exactly. Throw cats at me.
So there's something else you're changing on the forums. What is that?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. So I didn't
Not listed on State of Spark, but you talked about it to us yesterday.
Yeah, so this isn't part of the state. I didn't want to talk. I'm not going to talk about it until I probably start doing it. But I'm code naming it Operation Tidy Up Tempest because we've had a lot of other operations that are based on storms or hurricanes and the like.
And alliteration.
Yeah, alliteration. So Tidy Up Tempest is all about kind of doing some cleanup around the forum. Some stuff is looking a little bit more like an archive as opposed to an active community. A lot of the information is like not helpful anymore because it's geared to back. Spark looked a lot differently. Even other stuff's like talks about like beta, like I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff that's sticky that shouldn't be sticky. There's a lot of information that should be consolidated and updated. So I'm going to make an active effort to basically tidy up the forums. So that's a job I'm going to be taking on and relatively soon here, as soon as I can get these video things down. So I'm not spending. I can get them, done in 5 minutes instead of an hour. But
Are you required to wear a French maid outfit while you're working on the forums doing the cleanup?
no, I'm not doing that. I know you'd enjoy it, but I'm not
Oh
doing
yeah.
it kind of for everybody else.
Me and everybody in the office, I'm sure. Especially the people seeing you walk from your car to the office in that outfit.
They're like, what? What is going on?
Yeah.
Well, I would only have to go down a hall, get to the elevator, and then I can take the elevator directly to the parking garage. So I actually don't have to go outside, which is kind of nice. Because it's covered in parking.
And you're actually thinking this through. That's hilarious.
Yes, yes, I am. I'm
All
glad
right.
everything's still working. I'm terrified to touch my computer because it still is telling me Skype's not responding. My face isn't moving anymore.
It seems fine on both Skype and the live chat, so you're fine.
All right, I'm not gonna not gonna worry
Don't
about
touch
it.
a button. That laptop is cursed.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't always do what it needs to be doing. So anyway, I'm just gonna not touch it until we're done.
So, in the remaining moments, what hints or tips for new creators do you have that didn't quite make the tutorial series?
Oh man, I don't know. They cover a lot. Like they're pretty well thought out to cover different. And I think once we get shooter and arcade especially up there, it's gonna even be more filled out, right? So I mean, definitely I think you'll be missing some good information if you only do an RPG and like don't do a 2D side scroller. But I think when because also what happens is they kind of layer on top of each other where they kind of repeat some of the concepts, and that helps, right? Like constant um, kind of reviewing it
Right,
is
with
like
new
also
players,
how
I think the problem is they see it done one way for one thing and think that way of doing that thing is the only way you can
it's
do
not
that
true.
one thing.
It's super flexible and like you have to tailor it to your needs. But I mean, I think these will get people to a much better starting place to realize that they can do that. So really highly recommending them. We're also sharing like these tutorials. I think would be pretty good in the education space too, for like teachers to kind of pick up and look at and see what elements they can take from them, or like if they want to do a week of after school clubs and they at the end have an RPG and they go through like episodes 1 through 10, like that's pretty sweet. And I think that was kind of also a goal where these would be a good format for education too.
Have you thought about having a series on design tips? Like,
I think we would just also do those as tips and tricks, like have a design aspect on that. Like coding is more like you can see if it works or doesn't. Design is also a lot more personal taste.
mhm.
I'm an okay designer, but I don't think I'm like fantastic or anything.
You made okay guns, but everything else you made was terrible.
Yeah, I would agree.
I wasn't
Uh,
expecting you to actually take that serious, but okay. I guess you agree.
so I mean, I don't know. It depends. Like, and there's a lot of. I mean, obviously, there's quite a bit you could cover with design, like as far as level design versus like actual prop design, whether that's a character or an inanimate object. So like especially like how to use glue and attach effectively, or like the best practices for like how to how to build props from scratch, like the typical way that I see people do it, and I think Brian did it the same way was you kind of, and this is the way I do it, right, is you pull out a bunch of the props you think you're going to use, and then you kind of get the color tints all right, and then you kind of have your workshop, and then you kind of look at those for inspiration as you're building. I think a lot of people do that.
Well, the other
But
thing that I think it would be really useful for people, but they don't know it exists, is how to use terrain tinting. Because if you weren't around for that one
yeah,
video, that one week where they talked about that one time, it's not going to be
yep,
really evident.
I believe that's the next tips and tricks I'm going to record as soon as I can get editing and getting them on YouTube.
So, like making the waterfall out of terrain, or making the waves out of terrain, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like the, kind of like here's how to do lava, and here's how to scroll it, and here's how to color it, and make it, this is like how you access those tools, and here's emissives versus not emissive, and diffuse maps, and all that fun stuff. And really, there's two things with Epic Artist Builder Pack or whatever, where there's the tinting, and then there's also all the physics properties based, which also like people have no idea that those exist.
So Eddie wants to know, is getting Spark in schools a major priority right now? And if so, is there any information yet to use when approaching schools?
We have some stuff. We don't have a ton of stuff. We're trying to build out kind of resources now. That's, we were never, education was always a thing we knew we had good potential for. It was never our primary focus until we have made this transition to go free. Now education is pretty much the primary focus. It's slow though, right? But yeah, so that's the efforts of like doing new tutorials and making sure all of our information is together, um, all those things, right? Like I'd like to also get to a good point where I can do an education forum on the actual like on projectspark.com that has a bunch of resources. But we're building all those things out like right now. That is like a lot of the stuff that I'm doing on the side.
And is there any update on the JSON file?
What? Why are you bringing that
Well, because that would be
up?
really useful for education. That was actually why we wanted the JSON file, so we could make it our own education website.
Yeah, I mean, who? Okay, so who is going to do? Is okay. I mean, I'll seriously go and look. I mean, so the JSON file thing, just remember, I like came when I was like on the team, or like came on the team, that was an ask that was already made, and I was like, that was basically something I wasn't even part of that discussion. Um, so if you guys are serious still about trying to get JSON files, I mean, I can see what we can do. I know that was like, that we killed off that topic because, I think the person who was in charge of it rolled off the team or whatever. Um, but I mean, I will do my darndest to try to get whatever you need if it's going to be helpful for you guys. So is our JSON files still, you still want them? Would you still be using them for anything?
Well, I'll check with the people who wanted them, but I think they wanted them for the Code Academy website, so they could build up their own tutorials through the website. And of
Yeah,
course, Psycho
Psycho
Killer
Killer.
says he wants it, because he wants everything.
Yeah. Okay, so for, because I'm, brand new to this discussion pretty much on the JSON files, do you want to, like, how would you guys use them slash what would they do? So tell
So,
me, and the Psycho Killer could tell me in chat too.
so the idea behind the Code Academy was knowing all the references, limitations of associations, and all that stuff of each code tile to each other. So you could actually come up with tutorials online that use the actual code tiles relationships to each other and throw the actual errors and work in actual come up with actual functional code. So that when you come up with a tutorial, you can say, um, when this, do that, of course, but then fill out the exact code tiles to fulfill the action. So a little bit like the daily brain puzzles that you had for the dailies, but more tutorial education focused.
But it could be like kind of an outside module, so it would be like, okay, go build a UI menu, and you would just be able to like do mess with the tiles, and then it would tell you if you're correct or not, or whatever.
Right, or it would give you suggestions
Mhm.
afterwards, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you could make this one line instead of two, or that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that would be super cool.
That was we really wanted it back in beta, just so that when release came out, we could have a website that would do all this education stuff for you. But yeah, I remember when I was in the studio and what was his name? Oh, I can't remember anymore. But he was the guy who made CodeShare.
I don't remember either.
But he was like, "Hey, he'd ask a word Andrew to ask me to ask Mike, is there any chance that that thing could happen anytime soon?" He's like, "No." So then that was the end of that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I will try to do this because all that stuff sounds really cool.
So that was that. Um, so speaking of Psycho Killer, he's making his new edition of SparkShare.
Yeah. I haven't booted it up today. Did the update go out
I only read the
for
patch notes. I didn't.
1.2?
We're on a 30-second delay, so you're gonna have to.
Wait a long time, yeah.
Yep. And Mescat is right. Austin was his name. The
Okay.
the CodeShare guy.
That was very early. I don't think I was super active yet when that was going on.
Yeah, that was CodeShare was made during the. We actually had a JSON file back then, I believe. That was really outdated now. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So Psycho Killer let us know that he's working on it, but he's trying to get private messages working. So and he's waiting on the release for that, but should be maybe tomorrow.
And since this video is being recorded, it'll always be the next day after somebody watches this that it might come out.
Perpetually.
Yeah. It's like when I when I borrowed my friend's TI-86 TI-83 case for his calculator because he had his calculator and I lost my case. So I said I'll give it back to you tomorrow. And then since tomorrow never came, I think I gave it back to him like last day of school. It was pretty fun.
Nice.
Anyway,
Very mean. You say was that TI-89?
TI-83.
83.
83 or 86, one of the two. All I remember is that I was able to play video games on it.
Yeah, there's like Block Boy and all that kind of stuff.
I did not know Black Boy. I knew that there
Or is
was.
it Block Guy? I don't know. He pushes blocks around.
We didn't have that one, at least not in my class.
And my buddy, he would like make little games on the calculator too, which was pretty cool. He like had this one. It was like a text-based adventure where it's like you go in, you're like trying to escape from this like mansion or whatever, and so you have like to find little things around and pick them up and use them like with different items and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I remember there was a vertical scroller shooter that was in there. There was a racing game. There was something called like Drug Wars, where it was basically just selling illegal stuff for money, and trying to get as much money as possible.
I I may or may not have played that one.
And then I
I
remember
know exactly which one that is.
one of my friends got a Palm Pilot or something that actually had a stylus, so he could actually touch the keys. Um, and it had a touchscreen to it, so it was
I did you guys kind of go through the whole thing where they like thought Palm Pilots were going to be like the latest and greatest thing, and then they like quickly died out
yep.
because they were just really cumbersome, and they like wanted everybody to like learn how to write a different way, so because there was like shortcuts you could do with the stylus because it couldn't know real calligraphy, but you'd have to like learn the shortcut way. Oh man, I remember that. My middle school, this is gonna sound so hilarious. My middle school, we're trying to be a Palm pilot school.
Well, that explains the alliteration in Tidy Up Tempest.
Yeah, there you go.
Thomas's Tidy
I,
Up
I
Tempest.
remember that too. They were all trying to get all the kids to buy Palm Pilots, and then there was like a few. I mean, extremely rare that a class would like they like had like automatic quizzes where they could hand out the Palm Pilots to the kids, and they would like actually be able to go through and take a quiz. Uh, that was like a long time ago though. That was like way before smartphones, but not much longer because by the time those came on, like Palm Pilots seemed like ridiculous.
So, is there any thought about having a Project Spark helper app? You know, like how like there's Destiny that has a standalone app on like an
Oh,
Android or
like
a.
a companion app or whatever. Um, I mean, not we're not working on anything like that at this point.
You
Be
should
awesome
totally
if
learn how to program on an iPhone and Android so that you can make this.
I'd rather learn how to program C# first so I could go in and do stuff for Project Spark proper before I'd learn how to go make a companion app. I'll leave it to community people to make awesome companion apps that can do cool things like SparkShare.
Yeah.
Sorry if I make anybody feel really old. I probably do that like every single SparkCast where I start like talking about my like schooling
Well,
days.
Thomas is 18 years old and this is his first job.
No.
I'm sorry. He's 14 and he just got his work permit. Be really excited for him.
I'm an intern, guys. Summer internship
Oh,
that is now going into November or whatever, or December.
December, yeah. And this is why we have Decemberary patch release updates.
Yeah. Yeah. On as far as title update 17, it hopefully doesn't end up being a Decemberary thing, but we're not doing as often right title updates, so we want to as things keep coming up, we're like, oh, that needs to also be in title update 17. Same thing with like there's a controller issue with the latest build of Windows 10, and we also need to get a fix in for that. So that's just another thing.
All right, so we are just about the hour mark. Do you have any final words like you'd like to bring up to the community as far as like what to expect going forward, or um, how big your bald spot is growing, that sort of thing?
I'm not old yet. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna end up looking like Moose or anything.
Hey, I do this
Ouch!
on
I
purpose.
get one dig.
Hey, you get booted off the forums for saying stuff like that, don't you know?
I don't. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe. Ugh. No, I'm trying to think. I don't really. I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. I'm really open to feedback. So I mean, and really, stuff that you guys know that I can do and control and manage. Feel free to bring them up to me, please,
If
because
somebody wanted to work together with you, in a official, well, unofficial capacity to come up with future tutorials, would they be able to like write up the scripts or ideas and stuff like that? Like maybe do a little bit more work towards? Would they be allowed to do so?
I mean, if people have stuff they want, we're always taking suggestions for tutorials and stuff like that. But if you guys want to go so far as be like, here's the level with the code and a script, I would probably be more than happy to play the actor and go through it and read it. I mean, obviously that's all prep that we have to do before tutorials. So I mean, sure. I mean, that's obviously helpful.
Because I know we have like at least three very skilled tutorial or education people right in the stream right now with Mescad, Kraken, and Eddie, who
mhm.
all focus most of their efforts on in Project Spark of educating people. So if they wanted to come up with a series for whatever game they're interested in making.
Yeah, especially, I mean, if they're not interested in making their own videos, but like still want to do certain things or have starter kits they've built, but want them to be shown off on stream and they can, put them in an educational format, like I'm more than happy to accommodate that and work with you guys.
All right, sounds good. So that's an open invitation to whoever wants to annoy Thomas in their free time.
It's
You
honestly,
too can
I'm
do.
doing my job. I'm excited when anybody's trying to do something that makes my life a little bit easier because right now I have a ridiculous amount of things to try to do.
Stupid
You're
phone.
getting a phone call.
I don't even know why. Why do you
Is
call
that a
me phone?
landline?
Hmm?
Is that a landline?
It is, because it made my Verizon bill cheaper if I got that by $5.
It made it cheaper to get an additional service.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. But when I
They're
first,
like, we have so many landlines. We need to we need to get rid of liquidate inventory.
I don't know, but it worked out with the home security system the house came with. So you needed a landline in order for that to go off. And then I found out the hard way that if your landline gets disconnected because of your phone company just having poor service, your house alarm starts going off.
What?
It was pretty annoying, so I manually disconnected my own security system for a period of time just so that it would stop going off with no reason other
That's
than
pretty
not being able.
frustrating.
They weren't able to call me if there was a problem, so that clearly meant that there is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Not good.
and I would uh, unplug this phone altogether, but this is also how I get like the community emergency weathers announcements and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
but I also get these really awesome messages where it goes, "This is a message for this is it. If this is not zip zip, then you are now claiming to be them, and you are going to be responsible for all of their debt." And I'm like,
Oh yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, so stop calling my telephone, people. I didn't give my number out on the stream for
I
fun.
think I think it's Muscad. He's just like.
It's always Mescad. Anyway, so on that note, people, we will see you all tomorrow at
Yep.
the.
I'll do my live stream run through. So tomorrow, join us for at 3 o'clock p.m. Check out my really unfinished dungeon. Uh, that is part of actually the kind of project that me and Brian are doing. Just for a fun kind of build something while everybody else is building something for the game jam. And then Friday, tune in 11 a.m. Pacific time. We're gonna play your guys' creations and come prepared. We're probably going to take a couple suggestions also from chat, so do that. And there may or may not be a guest.
And speaking of guests, if you would like to be a guest on the Community Sparkcast and talk to Thomas
Yeah, you guys.
directly,
I get tired of just talking to Moose, man. Oof, and
I
I'm
get
sure you guys
tired
are
just talking to
too.
Thomas. Woof.
Like, yeah, I know. if you weren't tired of it before, you're definitely gonna be now. Once you don't get to alternate between me and Brian.
Oh, that's very true. So it's just gonna be you every week. So if you would like to talk to Thomas one of these weeks, or if you want to be on every week, you can feel free to just message me that too.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm seriously. I'm looking at names in chat right now. If you guys don't volunteer to be on the Sparkcast, I'm going to
Ban you from the
ban you
forums.
all. Yeah, remove all of your creations and your downloads, and reset your achievements. And
All right.
I can't actually do that, but
Totally can. All right. So that's it. We'll
yep,
see you guys tomorrow for the official stream, and next week here for the Sparkcast, and Friday for the UGC stream.
yep. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Night, everybody.
All right, bye guys.
Hey, so what's that next content pack coming out? What's the
It's
name of the next content pack? You
Final Update 17.
just give us the initials of the content pack.
TU17 is the
Yeah,
initials.
what are the initials of the content pack? Okay, fine.
It is that because there's all the things that are coming in that are going to be added to core, which
I don't
is our
understand.
name for all the free. That's like the pack that has like goblin and male alpha person or whatever male peasant. Oh man, Skype is not happy that I even touched it. Okay.
Okay, that's all.